Welcome to Dark and Divine Encounters. I'm your host, Denise Dodge, and each episode I will be guiding you through the mysterious realms that lie just beyond our understanding. Here we explore real paranormal encounters or unexplained phenomenon that range from the unsettling to the uplifting. Prepare yourself for two true occurrences in each episode, one eerie and the other remarkable. Life is a mix of trials and triumphs, and I've seen that the paranormal is no different. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and follow us on social media for updates. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Please note this podcast features experiences of paranormal activity and true crime elements, which may contain details or descriptions that may be unsettling or triggering for some listeners. Take care of your needs first and always. Today for our dark segment, we're taking you to the enigmatic forests of Arizona where an ordinary workday turned into a nightmare for Travis Walton. Travis Walton and his logging crew encountered something otherworldly deep in the woods. After a strange beam of light struck Walton, he vanished without a trace. His co-workers were left in shock and disbelief, and the community thrown into turmoil. Walton reappeared 5 days later with an incredible and baffling story that still stirs debate today. Wait until you hear what happened to Travis Walton during those 5 missing days. It shocked the hell out of me when I was researching it. And for our divine segment, we're going to delve into the astonishing near-death experience of Dr. Eben Alexander, a renowned neurosurgeon. Dr. Eben Alexander, once a skeptic, found himself on the brink of death due to a severe brain infection called bacterial meningitis. During his coma, he embarked on a journey through an extraordinary and vivid spiritual realm. Guided by a mysterious presence, he encountered revelations that defy conventional understanding and forever altered his view of reality. We're going to dig into it. When I first heard the story, it altered my spiritual views as well. In 1975, 22-year-old Travis Walton of Snowflake, Arizona, worked as a logger on a 7-man crew. His supervisor and longtime friend, Mike Rogers, had secured a contract with the U.S. Forest Service to thin trees in the Turkey Springs area of the Apache Sitgreaves National Forest, which is northeast of Phoenix. The team included Alan Dallas, John Goulet, I hope I'm saying that right, Dwayne Smith, Kenneth Peterson, and Steve Pierce. On the evening of November 5th, the crew wrapped up their day's work as the sun set around 6 p.m. They piled into Rogers' truck for the drive back home, and along the way, a bright light piercing through the trees caught their attention. Initially, they feared it might be a fire or a plane crash. As Rogers drove closer and stopped the truck, they saw the source of the light through a thinner patch of trees. Hovering just 30 meters away was a classic flying saucer, resembling 2 gigantic pie pans placed lip to lip with the dome on top. The object, estimated to be 15 to 20 feet in diameter and 8 to 10 feet tall, glowed with a golden light that poured from uniform panels around its body, divided by strips of dull silver. It hovered silently and perfectly still. Travis Walton, known for his daredevil tendencies, was seized by an urge to get a closer look. Ignoring his co-workers, they all were shouting at him to get back in the truck. He ran up behind a pile of logging debris. As he approached within 6 feet of the UFO, it emitted a cacophony of mechanical sounds, and it wobbled erratically. Before he could react, a bright blue-green beam of light shot from the underside of the object, accompanied by a really sharp cracking sound. The beam struck Walton in the head and chest, causing him to feel as though he was being electrocuted. He was paralyzed, knocked unconscious, and sent flying backwards. His coworkers watched in horror as Walton soared through the air and landed 10 feet away. They panicked and sped away in the truck, but soon stopped when they realized that the saucer was not following them. Rogers made the decision to return for Travis, but when they returned to the site, Walton was gone, and so was the UFO. The men drove to the nearest phone booth and contacted the police. W.D. Ellison of the Navajo County Sheriff's Department was the first to respond, followed by Sheriff Marlon Gillespie and Undersheriff Ken Copeland. Despite an extensive search that began at sunrise, involving over 50 people from the Forest Service, the county search and rescue team, and local volunteers, there was no sign of Walton or the UFO. The loggers joined the search, though Steve Pierce was still in a state of shock. During the search, Rogers observed a man in the Forest Service uniform scanning the area with a Geiger counter. The man detected background radiation until he tested the loggers' hard hats, which showed levels 4 times higher than normal. The man walked away and ignored their request to test the truck. As the search expanded, word spread to the media. William Spalding, an investigator from the Phoenix-based group called Ground Saucer Watch, visited the site and reported unusual electromagnetic readings and residual traces of ozone. On November 9th, the 4th day of Walton's absence, police and members of the public, including Walton's own family, began to suspect foul play. The 6 loggers were questioned extensively, and on November 10th, they underwent polygraph testing by Cy Gilson of the Arizona Department of Public Safety. Despite some initial distrust and agitation, Gilson concluded that all the men were being truthful about their encounter. Around midnight on the 5th day of Walton's disappearance, he regained consciousness lying face down on the side of the road outside Heber, Arizona. He looked up and saw a white light switch off on the bottom of a highly reflective, silvery, saucer-shaped UFO that was hovering right above the road. But in an instant, it shot up into the sky without a sound and disappeared. Walton stumbled to a payphone and called his brother-in-law, who, along with his brother Dwayne, drove out to pick him up. Believing he had only been gone for a few hours, Walton was shocked to learn that 5 days had passed since his disappearance. He could recall little more than an hour of what happened during that time. His memories were fragmented and he was exhibiting trauma responses. Though he appeared physically unharmed, Walton's eyes were bright red, and they remained that way for some time. Unable to sleep, he met with his mom and sister before being taken to Dwayne's home in Phoenix for medical examinations. Walton had lost 10 pounds during his absence and displayed signs of severe stress and trauma. Sheriff Gillespie met with Walton the day after his return, and that's when Walton began to recount his fragmented memories. Walton could recall only a little over an hour of his missing time, and even those memories were too traumatic for him to fully grasp and to remember completely. The day after his return, Travis spoke with Sheriff Gillespie, sharing what he could remember. His first memory after the encounter with the UFO was regaining consciousness and feeling intense pain, as if his entire body had been burned. Opening his eyes, he saw a bright rectangular light above him and realized he was on a raised table in a triangular-shaped metallic room, which he initially mistook for a hospital. As Walton tried to move and speak, he found that he couldn't. He noticed a strange object about 4 to 5 inches thick, seemingly made of dark gray metal or a shiny plastic, curved along the length of his abdomen. As his vision and mobility gradually returned, he realized he was surrounded by 3 figures that he initially assumed were doctors. However, when he looked into their enormous, luminous brown eyes, he knew they were not human. Disturbed by their eerie gaze, Walton leaped off the table and grabbed a glass-like cylinder nearby, threatening the three beings. The creatures, just standing under 5 feet tall, had pale white skin, large bald heads, and wore seamless orange jumpsuits. The object on Walton's abdomen fell to the floor. It emitted a green light, and despite his barrage of questions, the beings never responded or interacted with each other from what he saw. Instead, they slowly backed away and left the room. Walton exited through the opposite door and walked down a curved hallway. He passed an open door and then entered another, which led him into a spherical room. The room was empty, except for a high-backed metallic chair in the center and what appeared to be the outline of 3 closed doors along the walls. As he approached the chair, the room got darker and darker, and a pattern of stars appeared like a planetarium. The effect diminished as he stepped back and away, and the effect returned when he got closer to the chair. He was really intrigued, and Walton examined the screen and numerous buttons on the arm's chair. He pushed a few buttons, but nothing happened. He then sat down in the chair out of curiosity and noticed that it was slightly too small for him. He pushed a lever and the stars began to rotate around the room and caused him to feel dizzy. He realized that he didn't know what he was doing, and he started feeling very disoriented, so he stood up and immediately started searching for an exit. At that moment, Walton heard a noise from the doorway. He turned to see a muscular, human-looking male in a blue jumpsuit and helmet. The man's only peculiar feature was that his golden hazel eyes, they were just really bright and golden. Walton started asking him a lot of questions, but this man only smiled slightly. He never spoke, never said any words. Instead, he took Walton by the arm and led him gently through a hallway into a small bare room where they waited for 2 minutes before another door slid open. This door led to a ramp descending into an enormous hangar-like room with a rounded roof that curved down to the floor. Walton noted that the structure he exited was significantly larger than the UFO that he saw in the forest, though it was similar in shape. He also noticed a few other saucer-shaped objects on the floor of the large room that he was standing in. The man guided Walton across this large room, down a hallway, and through another set of automatic sliding doors into a room with 3 other human-like beings. There was 2 men, similar in build and appearance to Walton's escort, and there was a woman with straight hair past her shoulders who was just standing there and waiting. All of them had impeccable, blemish-free skin and the same strange, glistening golden eyes. They wore blue uniforms, but there was no helmets. When Walton resisted, the beings took him by the arm, laid him down on the table, and placed a breathing mask over his mouth. This was Walton's last memory before passing out and then waking up on the side of the highway. Hey there, fellow adventurers. Please allow me just a moment of your time to introduce to you my affiliate sponsor. It's Viator, the world's leading resource for finding and booking the best travel experiences worldwide. I have fallen in love with Viator. They offer online and mobile access to thousands of trip activities, from tours and attractions to shore excursions and private guides in over 1,500 destinations worldwide. They're international. So whether you're planning a trip abroad or just exploring your local area, Viator has something for everyone. For example, right here in Tucson, where I live, they have a morning hot air balloon flight over the city. And let me tell you, it's breathtaking. Viator gives you ultimate flexibility with free cancellation and various payment options to fit any budget or plan. Plus, they have a fantastic loyalty program where you can explore, earn, redeem, and repeat, making each adventure even more rewarding. And because Viator is a TripAdvisor company, you can trust their high-quality standards and reliable reviews. Their 24/7 customer support means that you're never alone, no matter where you are in the world. You could be at a luau in Oahu, a Paris walking food tour, or on a Kilkenny haunted tour in Ireland. And with their Reserve Now and Pay Later feature, you can secure the activities that you don't want to miss without being locked in. You'll get a full refund if you cancel at least 24 hours in advance for most experiences. Make sure to read the program details for each event. So, if you're thinking about your next adventure, whether it's far away or just around the corner, check out Viator. You might even find tours and activities for some of the amazing places we talk about on this show. By using my affiliate link in the show description or show notes, you'll help support this podcast so that I can continue bringing you fun and spooky paranormal stories each week. Happy travels, and thank you so much for listening. For years after this experience, Travis Walton was hounded by the press and the public, constantly pressured to speak about his experience while also defending himself against accusations of fraud or mental instability. Despite the endless speculation and suspicion, medical tests showed no signs of physical trauma to Walton's head and no traces of drugs in his blood or urine. Yet Walton endured malicious smears and reckless media dissemination of false claims. In his own words, the public's reaction was a torment that nearly overshadowed the abduction itself. Determined to clear his name, Walton requested a polygraph test but wanted to avoid the circus of crowds and reporters. So he arranged a confidential test with Gilson, a polygraph examiner from the Arizona Department of Public Safety. However, when a reporter leaked the appointment, Walton decided to keep it anyways. The National Enquirer sponsored another confidential test from a private firm, but Walton's distress during recounting the events, coupled with the examiner's discredited practices, rendered those results inconclusive. Professor James Harder, Director of Research for the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization, APRO, later performed regressive hypnosis on Walton. This session allowed Walton to verbalize his experiences without being overwhelmed by the emotion, though he did not recall any new details. A couple of months later, Walton and his brother Dwayne passed another polygraph test, but the initial inconclusive test was leaked to the press and it damaged Walton's credibility. Skeptics like Philip Klass were relentless in their attempts to debunk Walton's story, suggesting that the loggers staged the event to receive a payout from their logging contract. Klass offered to pay for any polygraph tests that the men could pass, but delayed indefinitely when they accepted his offer. Despite the controversies, Walton revisited the scene of his encounter in 1993 with Mark Rogers, his crew chief, and they noticed that nearby trees had grown exceptionally fast in the 18 years since the incident. Further examinations of tree growth rings by scientists from Frontier Analysis Limited revealed that the rings were found 4 to 5 times thicker on the side facing the UFO incident, indicating accelerated growth, most likely due to some form of radiation. In 2017, scientists Philip and Bruce Buttinger of Frontier Analysis Limited completed testing of soil samples from the site, and they found elevated levels of iron, calcium, magnesium, and potassium compared to the control soil samples. Walton took additional polygraph tests in 1993 and 2008, and he passed all of them. Over the years, Walton and the other loggers passed 16 different polygraphs of increasingly rigorous methodologies, with only 2 inconclusive results from discredited methods. To establish the facts, Walton wrote a book about his encounter called The Walton Experience, which was published in 1978, but they ended up republishing it, and it's now under the name Fire in the Sky. The event has been a staple in UFO and paranormal shows, including the 1991 documentary Visitors from the Unknown and a 1993 episode of Sightings. Around the same time, Walton accepted an offer from writer and producer Tracy Torme to turn his story into a movie. However, the final version of Fire in the Sky, released in 1993, dramatically altered Walton's experience aboard the craft. In 2012, 5 of the loggers reunited to retell their stories for the first time on camera in an episode of Sci-Fi's Paranormal Witness. They are still deeply affected by the incident. It sits with them. And Stein's documentary, which was released in 2015, featured interviews with many of the same people, including Deputy Ellison. Despite becoming a reluctant hero in the UFO community, making occasional appearances at conferences, Walton has insisted that the event remains a negative experience in his life. He wished that he had never left the truck that night. Walton believes that the beam that struck him was accidental, and it was probably fatal, and that he was taken aboard by the UFOs so that they could revive him and repair the physical damage, whatever that damage might have been. From the silver saucers to the short-balled beings, many details in Walton's story suggest the involvement of extraterrestrial entities. These golden brown hazel-eyed beings resemble, though are not identical to, the grays of UFO lore. Waking up on a medical table is a very common element in alien abduction narratives, but the phenomenon has much older roots. So in 1759, for example, a Swedish farmer's son named Jacob Jacobson encountered short, mostly silent beings and a human-looking woman in a very strange red mansion, only to find that he'd been gone for 4 days. He remembered less than an hour of all that time. And just thinking about it, I want to share that story with you too, but that's a whole another episode. So the Travis Walton incident has become a classic in UFO lore, and it's rooted in the testimony of the loggers and supported by the physical effects on both Walton and the trees around the UFO site. Many, including Walton, believe he was taken aboard an extraterrestrial spacecraft and healed by alien beings. Whether they saved his life or not, whether it was just an experience and there was no medical issue, whatever the situation was, it left an indelible mark on his life and the annals of UFO history. So what are your thoughts? Have you had any experiences with UFOs? I want to hear about it. Leave a comment, send me a message. I'd love to know what you're thinking. What Travis Walton went through must have been terrifying, and it's even worse the way people treated him after the fact. So I don't know, this is also a good reminder. Be kind to people, even if you cannot wrap your head around whatever they experienced or believe. Be kind. Here at Dark and Divine Encounters, we know that not all stories have to end with years of abuse from the public. Sometimes they can bring proof of consciousness, a message of interconnectedness, and evidence of the afterlife. Sometimes it inspires us to come together and trust in a higher self. So let's shift our focus from here. Our next story will uplift your spirit and remind you that we are forever unconditionally loved by something larger than ourselves. I'm so excited to share this next story with you. It's a story about a renowned neurosurgeon firmly rooted in 20th century science, suddenly thrust into an unimaginable metaphysical journey. Dr. Eben Alexander's life took a very sharp turn when a severe illness left him in a coma, and his brain was critically damaged. Emerging from this crisis, he discovered that his consciousness had ventured beyond his physical body into a realm of profound beauty and unconditional love. This experience shattered his previous beliefs, revealing that our existence transcends the physical and connects us to a universal consciousness. Dr. Alexander's journey reshaped his understanding of life and consciousness. He realized that we are eternal spiritual beings, interconnected in ways far beyond our physical material world. He came away from the experience with a message: embrace your spiritual essence and recognize the immense potential within yourself. He believes that love, unconditional and boundless, is the essence of our existence. Raised by a father who was both a combat surgeon and a man of deep faith, Eben grew up with a respect for science and a belief in a loving, omnipotent God. This upbringing left a lasting mark on him, blending scientific inquiry with spirituality. For years, Eben adhered to reductive materialism, believing everything, including consciousness, could be explained by physical sciences. But his near-death experience challenged this view. In his coma, Eben's consciousness soared beyond the physical realm into a place of unimaginable beauty and love. His experience defied all scientific explanations that he had once believed in. He realized that the materialist view, which reduces everything to atoms and particles, could not explain the mysteries of consciousness. Dr. Alexander's journey teaches us that there's a vast, unexplored territory where science and spirituality converge. He suggests that consciousness itself may be fundamental to the universe, and through practices like deep prayer and meditation, we can tap into a universal wisdom that transcends our scientific and material understanding. It's when he talks about how consciousness itself may be fundamental to the universe. These are teachings that go all the way back to the Bhagavad Gita, to the Bible, to a lot of older texts. So these are things that people have been talking about for a long time. So it's not necessarily new. Here's the unique thing with Dr. Eben Alexander is he's a neurosurgeon, and he has a really good, strong grasp on how the human brain works and how to do surgery on it. He has a very close relationship with the brain. So what makes this different and unique from a lot of the other NDEs that we're going to explore later is his scientific understanding of it. As a respected neurosurgeon, Dr. Eben Alexander believed consciousness was a product of the brain. But in 2008, a rare bacterial infection ravaged his brain, leaving him in a coma. For 7 days, Eben's neocortex, which is responsible for rational thought, was completely shut down. Medically, he was not here. Yet during this time, his consciousness soared into realms beyond words. Emerging from this experience, Eben faced a reality that challenged everything he knew. He realized that consciousness transcends the physical brain, acting as a filter for greater universal consciousness. This revelation, rooted in quantum mechanics and spiritual insight, reshaped his worldview. It suggested that our consciousness is integral to the universe's fabric. Dr. Alexander's journey urges us to embrace the interconnectedness of all existence and live with compassion and purpose. Eben's faith, initially nurtured in a religious home, waned as his scientific career progressed. By 2000, a significant event pushed him into agnosticism. Before his near-death experience, Eben worked with the Focused Ultrasound Surgery Foundation, and it took him to Israel. There, a deadly bacterium surfaced in the hospital, and doctors feared Eben had brought it back to the U.S. When he fell ill and didn't respond to the antibiotics, his chances of survival were slim. On day 7 of his coma, doctors decided to stop antibiotics. Miraculously, Eben began to recover hours later. Upon returning, his brain was a wreck, but he vividly remembered his journey. Initially, he found himself in a worm's eye view, a dark and primitive realm. A spinning white light then approached. opening into a brilliant, ultra-real valley lush with life and vibrant colors. He was a speck of awareness on a butterfly's wing, moving through a beautiful river of love and life. And in this realm, he saw joyous souls, children playing, and dogs leaping. There were spiritual beings in golden orbs, and they swirled around him, emanating powerful hymns and anthems. There was so much singing and a vibration of musical sound moving through the air. Eben's experience was intensely real, contrasting with the more muted and numb nature of earthly existence. His journey filled him with lessons about consciousness, life, and our place in the universe, revealing his near-death experience as a profound awakening to a higher truth. Hey listeners, let's take quick moment to talk about my last affiliate supporter of the day, Soundcore. When it comes to delivering superior sound quality, unparalleled comfort, and cutting-edge technology, Soundcore is in a league of its own. Imagine crystal clear highs, rich mids, and deep bass that lets you feel every beat. Soundcore's audio technology is meticulously crafted to bring your favorite tunes, podcasts, and audiobooks to life like never before. Whether you're a music lover, a podcast addict, or someone who needs to focus in a noisy environment, Soundcore's got you covered with products that outperform the competition. And what really sets Soundcore apart is their relentless commitment to innovation. They use advanced technologies like hybrid active noise cancellation, customizable EQ settings through the Soundcore app, and ultra-long battery life that keeps you going all day. Their products are designed with you in mind, offering comfort for extended wear and durability that withstands everyday use. Soundcore truly has something for everyone. Whether you're an audiophile, a fitness junkie, or a party enthusiast, their products are designed with superior sound quality, durability, and style in mind. But that's not all. By choosing Soundcore through my affiliate link, you're not just getting top-tier audio gear, you're also supporting this podcast. Your support allows me to keep bringing you the content that you love, exploring fascinating stories and diving deep into the paranormal. It's a win-win. So if you're ready to elevate your listening experience and support the podcast at the same time, click the affiliate link in the show notes or the show description below. Thank you for your support. Here's to many more episodes together. In his near-death experience, Eben found himself in a realm more real than our earthly existence. He learned our lives do indeed flash before our eyes, but it's an immersive reliving of key moments. Feeling the full emotional impact of our actions on others. This life review is guided by our higher soul. It's not judged by a higher power. It's guided by our higher self. It's transformative, making us feel the pain that we caused others much more intensely, providing powerful lessons. It doesn't occur to punish us. It occurs to educate us so that we can grow, that we can do better. And in this realm, we reunite with our higher souls and soulmates, enveloped in infinite, all-loving light. Challenges in life, including illness and injuries, are gifts for our soul's growth. Even our nemesis in life can be a dear soulmate that is helping us learn and evolve. Eben's message is that unconditional love is the ultimate healing force, not just an idea or an ideal, but a tangible energy that heals individuals. It can heal humanity and even consciousness across the universe. Our connections and relationships are central, and manifesting love is our primary purpose. Eben encountered a beautiful girl on a butterfly wing who conveyed unconditional love, telling him, "You are deeply loved and cherished forever. You have nothing to fear. You will be taken care of." This taught Eben that Fear is unnecessary. Knowing we are eternal, divine beings connected to a loving source, we can face life's challenges with confidence. Our purpose is to be channels of divine love, bringing light into the world. Eben also discovered that time in this realm is not linear. Experiences unfold in an instant or over a millennium, ensuring that love transcends time and space. He learned our actions are for learning, and any harm that was caused must be balanced through life reviews and future incarnations. These life reviews, they reinforce our purpose to learn the lessons of love so that we can grow spiritually. Eben's experience underscores the importance of meditation and deep spiritual practices connecting us to higher truths without a near-death experience. His story reminds us that our consciousness is a link to the divine. Embracing this connection allows us to live with purpose, compassion, and love. Eben Alexander's journey offers a blueprint for living, embracing unconditional love, facing challenges as growth opportunities, and trusting that the divine has your back and will ultimately do its best for you and care for you. One compelling aspect of Eben's journey was when his 10-year-old son, Bond, on the 7th day of Eben's coma, doctors had given up hope. But Bond's love and desperate hope reached him in that other realm that he was in. The connection broke through the coma's barriers, and he was able to hear and feel the love that was coming from his son Bond, even though he's deep in this coma. And that feeling and that calling out that Bond was doing, it compelled him to return to his body, to this material realm despite the odds. As Eben woke up, he initially remembered nothing of his earthly life. His brain was so damaged and he struggled with basic functions, but gradually his earth memories returned very vividly, and his neurosurgery knowledge resurfaced more intact than before, which is unheard of, and the recovery was a medical miracle and a profound mystery. Eben's experience, it opened up a whole new understanding of consciousness, realizing that it's not just a product of the brain, but something much, much deeper. And it connects us to a greater reality, something bigger than us. His journey confirmed the experiences of countless others with near-death experiences and spiritual awakenings. He encourages us to live with more love, compassion, and connection to others. Doing this with the understanding and knowing that we are part of something much bigger, much greater, and full of love. His neocortex, which is responsible for higher functions like thought and sensory perception, was severely damaged. By all medical accounts, he should not have experienced anything. Yet during his coma, Eben found himself in a realm beyond earthly experience, encountering beings and feeling an overwhelming sense of love and comfort, far more real than anything he had ever known previously. Initially, he tried to dismiss these as hallucinations or dreams, but the clarity was really hard for him to ignore. Eben's return was driven by the love for his 10-year-old son, Bond. During the coma's darkest hours, Bond's presence and words pierced through that unconscious state and brought him back to life. After waking, Eben struggled to reconcile that entire experience. His brain, in his mind, in his scientific mind, should not have produced the rich visions that he experienced. But it did. Eben realized that we don't need a near-death event to touch the divine. Through meditation and centering prayer, anyone can access the boundless knowledge and love he experienced. He has since become an advocate for sound frequencies in meditation, which are known as brain entrainment. He's working with sacred acoustics. He developed meditative tools for deep spiritual understanding. Eben saw consciousness not as a byproduct of brain activity, but as something deeper, with the brain acting as a filter. This insight aligned with ancient philosophies and quantum mechanics, suggesting that consciousness is fundamental to reality. In his near-death experience, he encountered a beautiful girl on a butterfly wing, and that girl was radiating pure love. This mystery gnawed at him, as he had never met her in his waking life. His father's absence in the experience puzzled him. Given how often people see departed loved ones, the overwhelming sense of love and connection he felt was a common thread in near-death experiences. But 4 months after the coma, Eben received the answer as to who that girl on the butterfly wing was. He was adopted and had recently learned that his birth parents had married and had 3 children, including a daughter. Her name was Betsy, and she had passed away. After he eventually reconnected with his birth family, Eben received a picture of Betsy and realized that she was the girl on the butterfly wing. Betsy's message when he was in that coma: "You are deeply loved and cherished forever. You have nothing to fear. You will be taken care of." We are all connected. We are all part of a greater consciousness that transcends this physical material world that is so temporary. Eben's story reminds us of that enduring power of love and the interconnectedness of all souls. And it challenges us to look beyond the material world and embrace these deeper spiritual truths. You are deeply loved and cherished forever. Thank you so much for hanging out today and listening to today's episode. These are 2 of my most favorite stories, so I'm glad I got to share them with you all. Before I let you go, I have a question. Have you had an encounter with spirit or experienced something that you just cannot explain? Send your stories our way and you might hear them featured in an upcoming episode. We always value your thoughts and suggestions for future episodes, so let us know. You can reach us on our website, social media, email. All that information is in the description box below. Your support helps us keep exploring real paranormal and metaphysical and spiritual encounters together. And that brings us to the end of the episode today. We have balanced the scales of the paranormal, revealing both the unsettling and the uplifting. So thank you for listening to Dark and Divine Encounters. Until next time, tread lightly but fearlessly.